Hey there, good people, it's your Crippled Critic, and this week I want to talk about the awesome new fighting game, Injustice 2. In case you don't know, Injustice is a fighting game series made by NetherRealm Studios, the same studio that worked on Mortal Kombat games. Injustice takes iconic characters from DC Comics and has them fight against each other. Following up from the first game, Injustice 2 takes place in an alternate universe where Superman is a ruthless dictator trying to police the world. At the end of the first game, Batman defeated Superman and locked him in a Red Sun prison. Injustice 2 starts off with Batman and his insurgency picking up the pieces from Superman's regime. They now have to forge new alliances to defeat an even worse villain, the alien Brainiac. I think the relationship between NetherRealm Studios and Warner Bros. Entertainment started way back in 2008 with the release of the fighting game Mortal Kombat vs. DC Universe. It was a strange crossover idea for sure, but the Mortal Kombat style of fighting worked really well with both sets of characters, although a little toned down. Plus it had a surprisingly good story with actual comic book writers behind it to explain the over-the-top universe jumping. The game proved popular enough to allow the studio to make the Injustice series using just DC characters this time. With Injustice 2, the creative director Ed Boon wanted to add gameplay mechanics used by other multiplayer games. Things like character creation, loot, and even a leveling up system put into a fighting game. This led to the development of a new feature in Injustice 2 called the Gear System. I'm a big fan of the Injustice series, and it's been really cool watching how both the Mortal Kombat series and Injustice series play off each other, learn from mistakes, and even add different mechanics from each other's games, the ones that work at least. As far as accessibility options go in Injustice 2, the controls are fantastic. Injustice 2 has fully customizable controls, including the 4 basic attack buttons on the right and the trigger buttons. The left analog stick and the directional pad can be used interchangeably to move your character and jump with them. Special moves can be customized to an extent. You can change special moves to require diagonal inputs instead, just by turning it off and on in the control options menu. For gamers with certain fine motor skill impairments, you can even make special moves require less precision by turning it off and on. Also, if you like, multi-button moves can be turned into single-button moves using another helpful shortcut in the control options menu. For story mode, there are 4 different difficulty levels you can choose from, and you can change them at any time in the control options menu. Basically, disabled gamers with fine motor skill impairments won't have any trouble at all playing Injustice 2. For gamers with hearing impairments, there are subtitles available, and different audio languages to choose from. You can even raise and lower the individual sound levels for things like music, sound effects, ambient noise, and dialogue. So there's a really neat feature in Injustice 2 that lets you turn on interactive audio cues. This lets players who have visual impairments know what moves they're doing during combat. Basically, gamers with visual impairments and gamers who are completely blind can play Injustice 2. This is a really interesting feature that I rarely see in games. Speaking of gamers with visual impairments, although the environments in Injustice 2 are fairly bright, there's a brightness slider you can change in the options menu. I did notice that during combat, some of the health bars are red or blue, but not knowing the color won't hinder colorblind players, as the color for the stamina bar doesn't really matter. The gameplay in Injustice 2 is a lot like the first one. There's an awesome new cast of characters. You got your typical grappler types like Gorilla Grodd and Bane. You have your pet sidekick characters like Atrocitus and even Poison Ivy. Then you have my favorite characters, the zoning types that shoot projectiles from afar, like Dr. Fate and the new Supergirl, which I was really surprised she was really fun to play with. The new gear system is a welcome addition to the series. Every fight you take part in, you get randomized loot, like equipment and customizable outfits. Win or lose, you will get something, although you're more likely to get better items if you win. Sometimes it can be a little annoying getting items and equipment for characters you don't really like or play as, but you can turn on character buys in the options menu, which focuses the equipment and loot you get, mostly just for the character you're fighting as, which helps. The story in Injustice 2, like other NetherRealm games, is well worth the money. It's running at about 6 or 7 hours. If I'm being honest though, I think I liked the story in the first Injustice just a little more. It's still good. They just focus on alliances and characters that we already know about, like this character's good now and this character's evil. The appeal just wears off. Of course, if you've never played the first Injustice, that won't really matter to you. The story in Injustice 2 gets a lot better. It just takes a while. Once the villain shows up, it gets pretty interesting. Brainiac actually turned out to be a really weird and intimidating villain. That was cool. They added a little bit of player choice to the story in Injustice 2 this time around. It lets you choose the fighter you'll be playing as. It's simple, but it switches things up a little bit. Not to spoil too much, but there are multiple endings to the story, and it is based on the choices you make. That was pretty surprising, and kind of a neat feature. Oh man, Injustice 2 was so much fun, and all the new characters I was looking forward to did not disappoint, like Blue Beetle and Dr. Fate. Even old characters I love, like Harley Quinn and Aquaman, still play really well. There's such a large number of accessibility options in this game that I don't see any problem for any disabled player to play this game. If you like fighting games, or if you just like DC characters, give Injustice 2 a try. Alright guys, thanks for watching. It's good to be back. Tell me what you think about fighting games. Do you like them? Do you like this one? Let me know in the comments below. Alright, thanks for watching, and I will see you later.